Hello, all the listeners of Align with Your Dharma. I am so excited and I am so grateful for all the listeners, for all the support you're providing by listening, giving me comments, encouraging me on the YouTube, where I have posted the videos. And I truly, truly, truly appreciate. I am saying this from bottom of my heart. And my intention when I created this podcast is to provide education, information, whether it is relationship, whether it is business, whether it is how to improve oneself, or whether it is financial, right? So all the aspects of our life, how I can provide value in an informational way, in an educational way. That was my intention. And for the longest time, I've approached several individuals and to provide financial information in about the finances, how to manage, and all of that. And my intention was there, but the right person did not line up. And today, I am so grateful to introduce this beautiful individual who aligned with my intention and said yes. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce my guest for today. Awesome guest. I always have awesome guests in my podcast, so I'm very grateful. This individual is an accredited financial counselor who helps individuals transform their relationship with money by healing the emotional and psychological barriers that is preventing them from achieving any financial empowerment in their life. So this individual uses um, di- divine tools to expedite the process of getting to the root cause of her client's money challenges. And then she builds a customized program which focuses on both practical education and emotional money healing, is what she says. So, and she says, the result is long lasting, it's cycle breaking change. So I'm sure it is a transformational experience for her clients. So there's none other than Katie Ubelhor. And welcome, Katie. Did I say your last name right?
No, that's okay. Nobody does.
How do I say it? I want to say it right.
It's Ubler.
Ubler. Ubler. Okay. Katie Ubler. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
thank you for educating me on that. And I'm so grateful, like I said, to have you. And I am going to ask you the very first question is, how did you align yourself with this financial alchemy coaching? What made you align with that? Let's start there. How did you arrive at this place?
Yeah, that's a good question. Try to answer it concisely. And thank you for having me. It's such a fun time talking with you. And I'm so grateful that I even met you just last week. Um, but I would say that there were plenty of times within my life where I thought I did really good things with money. I thought I'm responsible. I save, I give, I do all of the right things that I am supposed to. I even, by the age of 35, I had paid off all of my debts, including the house. My husband and I had just worked and worked and worked to accomplish this. And I had this moment where we had paid off the house. And I was sitting there thinking, I guess I expected that to be more satisfying than it was. Like, okay, so now what? That was what I was left with thinking. And typical type A driven personality, I just made a new goal. And so right around that time, I had um, found out about the FIRE community. FIRE is the acronym and it stands for Financial Independence Retire Early. And what these individuals do is they live off of up to 30% of their income, which means they save 70+% of their income, all for the sake of being able to retire well before the Americanized standard of 65 years of age. And so these are people sometimes incredibly, retiring at the age of 25 and can do whatever they want. And so that was my new aspiration. It was again financial. It was okay, now we've paid off the house, we have extra money. Let's go ahead and make this goal. I made the mistake of accepting a job just for the money because it would help me accomplish this goal. And I burnt out fast and hard in that job. And I did a lot of self-reflection. This was in September of 2023 now. And I did a lot of self-reflection from then to now, realizing that I may have looked like I had everything figured out financially. I can do, I worked in banking for 14 years. I know the ins and outs of the accounts that you need and how to build your credit score and the things that you should pay off. But I didn't have it figured out from a safety perspective. So, what I was feeling in my body and why I burnt out, despite all of this success, perceived success, I felt so unsafe. And so, I don't know if that resonates with you or any of your listeners, but this story that I had told myself looks like if I just had this amount of money, I would feel safe, or I would feel happier, I would feel good about myself. Or if I just got paid this much, I would feel better. I would feel redeemed. I would feel, like bridge the wage gap, like all of that women empowerment. But where does that really come from? And for me, it was this place of unsafety. I felt completely unsafe. And I didn't find it even in those moments when I should have. When I had saved up as in pursuit of fire, I had saved up 3 years worth of expenses where we could have quit our jobs and just traveled and lived. And even then, I didn't feel safe. And so I started really turning inwards with the help of a therapist and figured out this is something that is deep seated. It needs to be healed at a much deeper level because I should never be equating my personal safety with money, something so fleeting as money. There's a disconnect there. And so when I started working on myself and realizing, oh, like every person I meet has these, what I refer to as money blocks or money traumas, these unconscious beliefs like I do that money equates to safety. It's just a different flair. And how can I, through healing myself, help other people? And part of the breakdown and burnout was this this I guess I would refer to it as like a dark night of the soul, just kind of turning inwards for several months until I was ready to emerge. And then now it's just all about other people and wanting to serve other people in that way.
Thank you for sharing. Going there where um, it is a sticky um, topic, and not many people wanted to go there. So I appreciate you for sharing that, which will definitely educate, the listeners. And thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it. Um, so who are your ideal clients who reach out to you? Because not everybody wants to talk. Money is one of the things, that not many people want to open up unless you trust that person, right? That's
Yeah.
why. And so, who is coming to you, and who are your ideal clients? What are they going through, or how do you start the situation? I mean, talk with them.
Yeah. It comes sort of organically. It depends. And I should have prefaced all of this by saying I obviously am very comfortable talking about money, even though in our culture it is taboo, right? Like it's not easy for a lot of reasons that I respect. But also, I have found that if I can't be transparent for my own sake and for the sake of my clients, it's really hard for them to open up. So when I say I am an open book, I am. I will share every learning opportunity with the permission of my husband. It took him some healing to go through this process with me and be open to me sharing. We're both very private people in other areas of our life. And so I probably should have acknowledged, like, yeah, that's probably weird that I'm telling you all these very intimate details. But the fact of the matter is, I have found it really helps people say, oh, I can relate to that. Or, oh, yeah, you probably should know about this account that maybe even my spouse doesn't know about. Or, it helps the conversation flow. In terms of answering your question, my ideal client, the people I feel most passionate about would be a woman who is my age, who maybe is completely unfamiliar with financial literacy and how it can serve her in her life. I meet women who have gone through a divorce and the husband handled every aspect of the finances, and she is left clueless to live on her own. She has no idea how to build her credit. She has not had to have a job because maybe the husband didn't want her to have a job. That would be like a definition of like financial abuse. Or maybe it just didn't, maybe she had 4 kids and she chose to take care of them and the husband was supportive of that. And then things just didn't work out. I've seen deaths where the husband controlled everything, or one, I should say, one partner controlled everything. If somebody is ever left in a place, male, female, if somebody is ever left in a place where they feel helpless, I feel a call to empower them.
That's a great, that's a great answer. In your opinion, how do you define success?
Financially,
Yeah,
that's a good question. Um, you know, for me, I get a lot of satisfaction out of seeing an individual who maybe all of their money was in a checking account paying them 0.01%. And they did that intentionally because they liked seeing it there. They felt safe with it there. But maybe through our conversations, they can open up just a little bit and become comfortable to the idea of opening a high yield savings account, which would pay them 4%, or an index fund, which could pay a lot more than that. Um, Taking those baby steps and watching an individual become more empowered and self-sufficient is my personal definition of success. Anytime you can grow and you can do something outside of your comfort zone is satisfying in my eyes.
thank you for sharing that because that is one of the goals I have set to myself. I would say instead of goals, the decision I have made this year is to step out of my comfort zone whenever I feel intimidated. I wanted to stay in my
Mhm.
comfort zone is okay, even if it is quarter of a one whole step, even if it is a quarter of a step, if I can take and I know on when I come out on the other side, it'll be always beneficial for me. So I'm
Yes.
glad you said that.
Yeah.
So you help individuals go from having their money put in the checking account because they felt safe to investing it, whether it is in the high yield savings or index fund. And that way you have made a difference in their life by being successful. That is a huge step for somebody. And yeah.
Yeah.
So has that definition of success changed over a period of time since you started the journey?
Yeah, it's always evolving. So the example that I gave, transitioning from a checking account to a high yield savings or even an index fund, the whole purpose of that is just to get people's money working for them, so they don't have to work as hard. So a lot of people don't realize if you have, say, just an example, $10,000 sitting around, just like we all want $10,000 sitting around, right? But envision that. Say you have that in a checking account, that's making you $10 a year. If you put it in a high yield savings account making 4%, that's making you $400 a year. So that's that much less that you have to work. It's free money. It's coming at you. And a lot of people just don't take advantage of it out of fear. So that's empowering. But in terms of how my perspective on you know, finding satisfaction in my role or defining success has gone, it's evolved. And I think that when I start, when I know that a client is willing to take it a step even further and go beyond the technical, you know, creating a spending plan and increasing their credit score, and that's all good things, right? But when they recognize that um same thing as I did, where I felt unsafe, even despite the money that I had. When they recognize that that is a true thing that's happening physiologically within them, and they are willing to take accountability for that and talk about how do I change this within myself, that's where like the real gold is.
That is so true because as a coach who works with the mind, I notice taking me as an example, right? And it applies to everybody when we have fear or anger or sadness or hurt or guilt, our body, the subconscious mind's primary goal is to protect ourselves, preserve ourselves. So um, you helping your clients go from that fear mode, the fight or flight, freeze mode, to yes, now the money is in the high yield savings or index fund, and that provides them freedom, and
Yeah,
then they feel safe. That is huge for somebody who has been living in fear.
yeah.
So how do you stay motivated, or what is if you can give one quote that you heard that you live by, what would you say that is?
Oh, um, right now, I think it would be information without integration is just noise. Because how many times do we receive information and we're like, that's really good information. Like, I love that idea. But then time goes by, a year goes by, and we're the same person as we were last year because we didn't integrate anything. It's just noise at that point. And that's not meant to, you know, be an egoic statement. I'm kind of saying it in jest, but there's a lot of truth to that. You really have to actually do the work to experience the change.
Definitely, definitely. What I say is, I know you're saying information without integration is noise. I say knowledge, when we apply and implement, that is beneficial. Otherwise, it's knowledge and it's sitting on the shelf. Like
Yeah.
I still have a couple of books that I haven't even opened because I thought like, oh, this would be awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it's like I just flip through it. I'm like, oh my God, yes, I'll get to it. And I'm
Yeah.
working on a few different books, so I'll read a couple of pages and put it away. And and I'm a person when I read it or when I learn any technique, I implement it so it is integrated into me. So that is a great one to live by. Um, who inspires you? Do you have mentors or do you have somebody that inspires you? Hmm.
Yeah, several. I think it's really, really important to surround yourself with, um, I don't know how to say it, but people who have advanced to a level that you aspire to advance to. If you look up to people and you see the potential and they infuse life in you, I think you need to hold on to those people really tightly. And so, not to be a cornball here, but like just going, I went to a lymphatic drainage massage with Aruna last week to support my own detox process because I'm doing a detox and need the support. And her and I've never had a massage where I talked all the way through it and was not completely annoyed. It was just such good conversation. And I thought, I need to have this person in my life. The same thing goes with I have several mentors, one for my business, one for my two for my spiritual life. I highly advise individuals, even if you are struggling financially, to invest in yourself in that way because it is truly life-changing.
Um, what have you learned this year in your business, in your financial alchemy coaching? What have you learned that will improve your business next year?
Mhm. Mm.
One golden nugget.
I think that I'm learning. So I always say I meet people where they're at. I offer a judgment-free, I want your dirty, I want to hear it all. It is confidential with me. I want to create a safe space for you to vent because money, talking about money has to be a safe space, frankly. Like you're not going to be vulnerable if you don't feel safe. Um, what I have realized is that even in creating that safe space, some people aren't ready, and that is okay. And I need to not, I can say it, but I need to really believe it, like feel it physiologically. It's not personal. Like everybody is on their own journey, and recognizing that and accepting that, and knowing that some people only come to me for a couple of sessions, and then doing one more is just too much, and that's okay. And so giving them the space to know that I'm here if they ever want to pick up and talk about it again. I think that's been a huge lesson for me. And maybe that sounds a little remedial in nature. You know, it's not a way to live to get offended by people's behaviors, but it can be difficult when you feel a tie to somebody and you see somebody's potential and they struggle to see their potential. That is like part of, I think, the natural heartbreak of this business that is just something to get used to.
Um, I agree, but then I also disagree because I agree where you said you provide the space, yes. And I also, when I said disagree, is it is not in just your kind of business, it is in everybody's business. Um, I have noticed, like you said, I see somebody's potential and they are not seeing it. So what I have learned is, if I may say, holding the space, yes, like you said, but also holding the light so they can see, oh, okay, so I am smart and I am skilled. And because sometimes they don't
Mhm.
see all the skills that they already have. And they think
Mhm.
that, Katie is so knowledgeable and all of that. And I tell people if they are able to see the skills in others, that means that skill is in them.
Yeah,
They will not be
totally.
able to see whatever is not within them,
Yeah.
right? So just
Yep.
holding the light and then providing the space too, yes. Because then they will be like, oh yeah, Katie didn't rush me through. She held me accountable, and then at the same time she provided the safe space, and yeah, I
I
feel.
love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. It's the same thing I try to tell my clients who struggle with jealousy or comparison. Looking at somebody else and seeing that, that's actually a really beautiful learning opportunity. It does not make you an evil person. We all do it. But
Yes.
what you see in that person is something that you want to see in yourself. And so utilize that as an opportunity to go inward and say, what is it about this person that I actually appreciate, that I want to be? And try to, reverse engineer that in your own life.
Yeah. Sometimes it is intimidating. It's like, whoa, where is this coming from?
Yeah, it doesn't have a feel good energy with it. You have to transmute it for sure.
So, let me ask you this. What is your one favorite tool that you have utilized in your
Mm.
personal life or in your business life? One favorite tool and why?
A tool in general?
Your tool in your tool belt.
This will sound lame, but I'm a big writer.
Ooh.
I would say my journal. If I can do a mind dump in a journal, the handwritten elements of it are very important, because you just don't get the same processing time that you would if you were to type it out. Plus, I'm a really fast typer. Handwriting things, getting it out of your brain onto the paper has revealed so much to me. It's really been invaluable. I tell my husband all the time if we're in the middle of some sort of contentious conversation, I just tell him, you know what, I just need to write about this. We just need to pause. I need to write about it and we'll come back to it because I just need that time and the quiet and the ability to just take, to get it all out.
Thank you for sharing that. And if I may add, why you opt for that is scientifically, when we write, put the pen to the paper or pencil to the paper, um, we are activating the reticular activating system in our brain. So yes, and
Hmm.
that's what I tell my clients. Yes, sometimes they are like, "Well, I'm so busy. Can I just type all this information?" I'm like, that's what you can do, yes, but I would truly encourage you to put the pen to the paper and
Yeah.
write it, because it just flows. When once you start doing that, it just flows, and you're not editing yourself, you're not judging yourself, it just flows. And I
Yeah.
accept the flow state, because I tell them, like, no editing allowed.
Yeah.
So
Have you ever heard of the Artist's Way book by Julia Cameron?
sway, like sway book.
No, the Artist's Way.
Artist way. No, nope. Okay.
She emphasizes the importance of morning pages. And so, what she's trying to get at is the subconscious as it comes through your dreams, and that state that your brain waves are in. She's trying to tap into that first thing in the morning. She has you handwriting 3 to 5 pages, and not from a place of criticality. You're not editing this. You're just getting every thought out so that you can kind of clear through the weeds and be ready for your day. So your subconscious can start your day with a lot of like negative thinking that will come through on the pages when you do go back and you read it. But practicing that is almost like a therapy where you can start afresh once your subconscious has its time to be chattery and get it all out, then it doesn't really need to say anymore. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that idea. But it takes discipline.
Yes. And you said SWAY. That's the artist name.
No, so it's by Julia Cameron and it's called The Artist's Way.
Oh, the artist's way. Okay, got it. Got it.
Yep. There's a lot more to that book. It's a really beautiful book that helps you tap into your creative energy. But that's just one of the practices she has.
Beautiful. Because I have also heard people say um and do things where before they go to bed they are like complaining. Oh, day was a long day, that and this. And there is science behind it, where before you go to bed, just before you go to bed, because before we go to bed, our brain is in the beta state, right? Oh, I need to get this done. Oh, when I get up in the morning, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And then after that, your brain goes into theta state. And that is when, you want to say things, no matter how long of a day you had. What are all, at least three things? I would encourage five, because we have five fingers. We can say five things we are grateful for.
Yeah.
But even if it is three things, what did I, that I did today that I'm grateful for, even though, had a long day, whatnot.
Yeah.
That way we are going to bed with that gratitude note. So, in your subconscious mind, and then when you wake up in the morning, so right before you go to bed and right before you wake up, your brain is again in the theta state. So,
Yeah.
from beta to theta, and then you go into delta where it's deep sleep, and then you have this REM sleep and whatnot, and then you come up into alpha and then theta, and then you're awake in beta again. So yeah, even getting up, I encourage people, and I do that. I'm not just saying it, I do walk the walk that I talk.
Yeah.
um, Before I even get off the bed, I'll sit there and I'll say, what are all the things I'm grateful for? One, I got up. Not everybody who goes to sleep gets up. And,
True.
and I'm breathing, so that is two. And I can feel my fingers, everything working. And that means the organs are working. That is three. And then, I'm able to see, right? Four.
Yeah.
And then, if I have to go pee, that means everything is working well. So I'm able to get off the bed and go, use the bathroom. So, you know,
I
it's
love it.
it's good to tap into that rather than getting up and then looking at your phone like, oh, and I think it was Jay Shetty who said, why do you want to invite, would you want to invite like 500 people into your bedroom as soon as you wake up? And I was like, what does he mean by that? But he means literally when you get up and look at the phone, you're just inviting and looking at the email or whatever it is. You're inviting all those people into your bedroom. Why would you want to do that?
Yeah.
Rather
Yeah.
than, yeah.
And
So,
the things that it does, yeah, physiologically with
yes,
cortisol, it
yes.
just spikes everything. It's just not a good, and I say that, um, I still am a victim of it sometimes, but it is something to be aware of because there is a more peaceful way. You
Hmm.
start noticing differences when you implement these habits over time.
Yeah. Um, do you have any regrets in your life?
You know, I would have said yes to that in the past, but I think my answer is no, because I think that our lives are a mirror of how we perceive them. And there is learning opportunity in every single thing that goes as we would say negatively or wrong or whatever. I'm not even sure that it was wrong because no matter what, you win because you're choosing to learn from that experience. And when you have that perspective on life, then what is there to regret? Everything just has a lesson in it.
That is a great one. You are learning from each opportunity, so you win either way. That is a nice one. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it takes reframing. You don't get there right away. You have to have a positive mindset. You have to choose to see things that go wrong
yeah,
as what did I miss here? What can I learn from this?
yeah.
But yeah, you can get there.
Because I think it was Les Brown who said, you either learn or, oh man, he said something similar. He said, you are a winner either way. Um, I have to go back and check into that because Les Brown said
Okay.
something very similar. When you said that,
Okay.
like it reminded me of him. Um,
Yeah.
I either learn or I win, or something like that. I'm butchering it big time, but Les said that. Um, anyway, um, anything that I you wanted me to ask you that you wanted to share to my listeners about financial literacy, financial alchemy, what would you want to tell them before we wrap it up?
Well, I think with the last comment about no matter what I win, that's really what I was intending behind financial alchemy. So my motto, as cheesy as it may sound, is turning your money traumas into triumphs. It's alchemizing the process. It's taking what you may have perceived as a really bad situation. Maybe you went through a terrible divorce. Maybe you were left with debt when your spouse died. Maybe all of these things that happen to us financially. How can we how can we change your frame of mind into essentially I get to do this and get excited about where we are headed. Forget about the past. The past is the past. But where are we headed and how can we make this the best experience possible? And that's not coming from this place of like, I don't know, careless, like it's not well thought out. It's from this deep rooted place of where I really desire to get my clients to of finding satisfaction within themselves. It's not even about the money. It's about creating this inner environment mentally and physiologically where you just feel at peace. And financial peace now means to you that you can go about your life not necessarily even thinking about money because it comes to you easily and you have enough of it to provide for your every need. So that's really, I just felt inclined just as a tag along for what we were just talking about to explain why I named my business that. But I know we talked a lot about like my own personal safety, how it relates to money. There's a lot of other money stories that people have, and whether or not you know it, you have one. You have money blocks, you have your own money traumas, beliefs that are influencing how you spend money, and how you go about your day to day. And if you find that they are challenging to you or that um, money doesn't come to you as easily as you had hoped, that is the person that I'm interested in talking to because we can really get to the root of why you feel that way and how can we pull you out of it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Money doesn't come as easily for a person who's thinking like that. Okay. Um,
Scarcity mindset. Maybe
yeah.
somebody was taught when they were younger that I have to work really hard for money. That's the only way that I'm going to get it. My calendar has to be fully booked. That's the only way I can make money. That's an unconscious money block right there.
And if they are saying that, what comes to your mind right off the bat when they say that they have to work really hard to get that? Um, from what you have seen, where do you think that is coming from? Without they
I
even telling you, in so many words.
Yeah, so I think that so it can be a lot of things. I'm gonna sound like I'm generalizing and I realize that it goes a lot deeper than this, but for the individuals that I know that hold this belief, this would be maybe they grew up in a household where their parents valued traditional success, such as doctors or lawyers. And so they learned, and we learned this in school. I mean, think about it. Like we are given the sticker or the pat on the back or the big red A+ on the paper. We are recognized for good behavior. And we learn that from a very early age. And so especially if you're in like a corporate America setting, that was one of my hardest things, by the way, when I quit my job. I literally said to myself, I'm not getting recognized anymore. This is so boring. Not realizing that that was something within me because people's recognition made me feel worthy. I just wanted to feel worthy. And so these individuals who believe that money is not easy to come by or they need to stay busy, this is really it's rooted in just wanting to feel loved and a lack of worthiness.
Wow.
And so it goes really deep, and I know we don't have time to get there, but that's really what that tells me. And in a session with a client, I wouldn't go there so quickly. They need time to absorb it. They need for that to make sense to them so that they can begin to own that as their truth. But that's really what it's rooted in.
That is pretty profound and deep. The person who thinks that they have to work hard and they are not getting enough money as much as they are working hard. It's coming from a space of not being loved as a child or as a young adult, and since they didn't get the love, then they don't feel worthy, and if that is not addressed, they are going to grow up as an adult and feel that, wow.
Yeah, because money is recognition, right? If I work hard, I get lots of money. Money is my recognition. So if I'm not making a lot of money, then I'm feeling like I've associated my self-worth with that because my parents, so one example, and it wouldn't necessarily be that you grew up in a household where no love was shown, but an example of this is if you stereotypically have a doctor or lawyer and or lawyer parent, those are individuals who are working all the time. So they may, especially when you're like older and can take care of yourself, they may just throw some money at you and say, okay, go. They may show their affection through buying you things.
Yeah.
And so you begin to associate love with things. Well, if you can't in your life manifest things through earning enough money, then you're not worthy. So you know what? It's like it's really complex and it really depends on lots of life stories. And that's what I like to get into with my clients. But it's mostly rooted in just wanting to be loved like we all do.
Yeah, that is so true. Because no matter where you're born, which part of the country or which part of the world, everyone wants to be seen, valued, and heard, and
Yeah.
acknowledged.
Yeah.
That is the basic, need for everybody, no matter what.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Um, I could talk for hours. And
Yeah. Same.
and yes, definitely. Thank you for sharing all this valuable information. I want to ask you, how can people get in touch with you? I know you have a newsletter.
Mhm.
Is that one of the ways that people can get in touch with you?
Yeah, it's got information through the newsletter. You can check out financialalchemycoaching.com. That's the newsletter. But also financialalchemycoaching@gmail.com or check out Financial Alchemy Coaching on Facebook. I'm getting a website up as we speak. I've just been running my business by word of mouth, but trying to get a little bit more official here. So,
Okay. So it is
yeah,
financialalchemycoaching.com and then financialalchemycoaching@gmail.com is how they can reach out to you.
you got it.
Okay, great. And to the listeners out there, Katie's, if you are one of those women who are aged around 39, 40 plus, I'm not saying anybody's age, but around that age. And if you've gone through some trials and tribulations in life and you want to have more financial literacy, and who's your gal. So Katie will be happy to help. And as you can tell from our conversation, she is very heart-centered, and she does not judge or anything like that. So she holds the space. And so yes, reach out to her, and I will post all of this in the show notes on the podcast. And anything last minute notes that you want to add? Okay, one more thing. This is just on the spot. What is one thing, because we are talking about money, what is one thing others value and you do not?
Oh, I mean, I think more material things, my views have completely changed. So I wanted, I aspired to have the big house and the $150,000 car and the things that our society tells us make you look successful. And those things are nice, but I want for those to be a byproduct, like not the focus. My focus for so much of my life was in the wrong place. It was associating my self-worth with my net worth, and I don't value that any longer. So the things of the world, as my Christian parents would say, lots of, the things that are materialistic in nature, those just really don't impress me or phase me anymore, which I'm proud to say because it wasn't always that way.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for opening up your heart and sharing vulnerable stuff. And I'm sure my listeners would enjoy listening. And if they need your guidance, they are going to reach out to you, I can tell. Um, And thank you again for your valuable time and sharing all your knowledge and again, opening up your heart. That means so much to me and to my listeners. Appreciate it.
Same. Same. I really appreciated the conversation. I'm honored to be on your show. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you, Katie.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.